1. Hey there, car enthusiasts! Today we've got a real treat for you. A 1984 Lincoln Town Car that's sure to turn heads. This beautiful blue cruiser is up for sale on Craigslist for just $6,900. And let me tell you, it's a steal at that price. Now I know what you might be thinking. A car that's almost 40 years old must be in rough shape, right? Well, think again. The seller has provided a detailed description of the car's condition, and it's clear that this town car has been well maintained over the years. Let's start with the pros. The car has new shocks, all windows are in working order, and the AC works, although the condenser needs to be hooked back up. The shag carpet is still soft and plush, and the car even has its original undercoating. The seller has also installed a new alternator, a bean can, whatever that is. I'm assuming it's some sort of exhaust component, and a brand new exhaust system. The vinyl top is in good shape, and the car comes with extra headliner fabric and miscellaneous parts. But perhaps the most impressive thing about this town car is how fun it is to drive. The seller notes that it's a blast to take out on the road, and with a clean title and automatic transmission, it's easy to see why. Plus, the car comes with all receipts for new parts and a Carfax report, so you can buy with confidence. Now, of course, no car is perfect, and this town car does have a few cons. There are some minor rust spots, the light knob has no labels, and the driver's side chair recline lever doesn't work. The dash lights need some help, and there's currently no headliner, although the seller will provide the fabric. There's also an electrical short that affects the heat, but the seller says it's fine as long as all climate controls are set to off when the car is left. Finally, the chrome bumpers are flaking, but not too badly. Overall, though, this town car is a real gem. It's got character, style, and a whole lot of charm. And at just $6,900, it's a bargain for anyone looking for a classic cruiser to add to their collection. The seller is even open to trades for an El Camino or Ranchero from the late 70s or 80s. So if you've got one of those lying around, this could be your chance to make a deal. In conclusion, if you're in the market for a vintage ride that's sure to turn heads and put a smile on your face, this Lincoln is definitely worth checking out. It may not be perfect, but it's got a whole lot of heart. And at this price, you really can't go wrong. So what are you waiting for? Give the seller a call and make an offer. This beautiful blue cruiser could be yours before you know it. 2. Do I have a treat for you today? We're taking a closer look at a 1963 Chevrolet Nova that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This beauty is priced at $9,000, and let me tell you, it's worth every penny. First off, let's talk about the history of this car. According to the seller, this Nova has been in the Horning family since it was brand new. That's right, folks. This car has been cherished and cared for by the same family for over 50 years. And it shows. The seller has provided some great details about the car's condition. It's got a clean title, and the odometer reads just 112,865 miles. That may seem like a lot, but for a car that's almost 60 years old, it's actually quite low. And the best part? The engine and transmission have both been completely rebuilt, so you can rest assured that this car is running like a top. But the upgrades don't stop there. The seller has also installed a new radiator, new brakes, and a new gas tank. So not only does this car look great, but it's also been well maintained and updated with modern components. Now let's talk about the specs. This Nova is a 4-door sedan with an inline 6-cylinder engine and a 2-speed automatic transmission. It's got that classic rear-wheel drive layout that makes it a blast to drive. And with its sleek black paint job, it's sure to turn heads wherever you go. Of course, no car is perfect, and the seller hasn't mentioned any specific flaws or issues with this Nova. But based on the detailed description and the car's overall condition, it seems like this is a solid vehicle that's been well loved and well maintained over the years. So if you're in the market for a classic car with a great history and some modern upgrades, this 1963 Chevrolet Nova is definitely worth checking out. At $9,000, it's a fair price for a car of this caliber. And who knows, maybe you'll be the one to carry on the Horning family legacy and give this beauty a new home. As always, be sure to do your due diligence before making any big purchases. But if this Nova checks all your boxes, it could be the perfect addition to your classic car collection. Thanks for tuning in, and happy driving. 3. We've got a real treat for you, a 1978 Chevrolet Corvette that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This silver stunner is priced at just $6,500, and let me tell you, it's a whole lot of car for the money. Now, before we dive into the details, let's address the elephant in the room. The seller has listed this Corvette as a 1979 model, but the title of the ad clearly states that it's a 1978. I'm not sure if this is a typo or if there's some confusion about the car's actual year, but either way, it's important to clarify that before making any decisions. With that out of the way, let's talk about what makes this Corvette so special. First off, it's got that classic L48 engine, a 350 cubic inch V8 that's known for its smooth power delivery and impressive torque. Paired with an automatic transmission and rear-wheel drive, this Corvette is a blast to drive on the open road. The seller notes that the car runs and drives excellently, which is always a good sign. They've also mentioned that it has a newer exhaust system, which could mean a nice bump in power and a throatier sound. And with just 87,000 miles on the odometer, this Corvette has plenty of life left in it. Aesthetically, this Corvette is a real looker. The silver paint is a classic color that never goes out of style, and it contrasts nicely with the oyster interior. Speaking of the interior, the seller does mention that there are some minor issues, but they don't go into detail about what those issues are. They do, however, encourage potential buyers to look at the pictures for an accurate description. Now, as with any used car, there are bound to be some flaws. The seller hasn't mentioned any major mechanical issues, but it's always a good idea to get a thorough inspection before making a purchase. And while the interior issues may be minor, it's still something to keep in mind when considering the overall value of the car. Overall, though, this Corvette seems like a solid deal at $6,500. It's got a clean title, a strong engine, and a classic look that's sure to turn heads. The seller is firm on their price and isn't interested in any trades, so if you're serious about making this Corvette yours, you'll need to come with cash in hand. As always, do your due diligence before making any big purchases. But if you're in the market for a classic American sports car with plenty of character, this Corvette is definitely worth checking out. Who knows? It could be the start of a beautiful friendship between you and this silver stunner. 4. We've got a real treat for you, a 1975 Pontiac Catalina that's up for sale on Craigslist. This big, beautiful sedan is priced at just $5,950, and let me tell you, it's a whole lot of car for the money. First off, let's talk about what makes this Catalina so special. Under the hood, you'll find a massive 400 cubic inch V8 engine that's sure to put a smile on your face every time you step on the gas. Paired with an automatic transmission and rear-wheel drive, this Catalina is a classic American cruiser that's built for comfort and speed. But the fun doesn't stop there. This Catalina also comes equipped with factory air conditioning, which is a real bonus for those hot summer days. And with just 80,404 miles on the odometer, this car has plenty of life left in it. Aesthetically, this Catalina is a real looker. The brown paint job may not be everyone's cup of tea, but it's a classic 70s color that really makes this car stand out from the crowd. The seller hasn't provided any photos of the interior, but based on the car's overall condition, I'd imagine it's in pretty good shape. Speaking of condition, the seller has listed this Catalina as being in good condition. Now, good can mean a lot of different things to different people, so it's always a good idea to get a thorough inspection before making a purchase. But based on the information provided in the ad, it seems like this Catalina has been well maintained over the years. The seller, Lance Motors, is located just half a mile north of the Englishtown Flea Market in New Jersey. They've provided a phone number for interested buyers to call or text, which is always a good sign. It shows that they're serious about selling this car and are willing to answer any questions you may have. Overall, this Catalina seems like a solid deal at $5,950. It's got a clean title, a powerful engine, and a classic look that's sure to turn heads. The factory air conditioning is a nice bonus, and the low mileage means this car has plenty of life left in it. As always, do your due diligence before making any big purchases. But if you're in the market for a classic American sedan with plenty of character, this Catalina is definitely worth checking out. Who knows? It could be the start of a beautiful friendship between you and this brown beauty. So what are you waiting for? Give Lance Motors a call and schedule a test drive. This Pontiac could be the perfect addition to your classic car collection. Thanks for tuning in and happy driving. 5. We've got a real gem for you. a 1957 Ford Custom 300 that's up for sale on Craigslist. This vintage beauty is priced at just $8,900, and let me tell you, it's a car that's sure to turn heads and make you the talk of the town. First off, let's talk about the specs. This Custom 300 is powered by a V8 engine and comes with a 3-speed manual transmission. That means you'll get to experience the thrill of shifting gears and feeling the power of that V8 every time you hit the gas. And with rear-wheel drive, this car is built for cruising down the highway in style. Now let's talk about the condition. The seller has listed this car as being in good condition, which is always a positive sign. However, it's important to note that this is a vintage car, and with that comes a certain level of wear and tear. The odometer reads just 19,774 miles, which is incredibly low for a car of this age. But as with any classic car, it's always a good idea to get a thorough inspection before making a purchase. Aesthetically, this Custom 300 is a real stunner. The red paint job is a classic color that never goes out of style, and it really makes this car pop. The seller hasn't provided any photos of the interior, but based on the car's overall condition, I'd imagine it's in pretty good shape. Now here's where things get a little interesting. The seller mentions that they're posting this ad for a friend who has several vehicles they're parting with. They also mention that they don't know much more than what's listed in the ad, but they do know that the car is still going out cruising and is sure to make someone very happy. While it's great to hear that the car is still being enjoyed, it's important to approach this situation with a bit of caution. Since the seller isn't the actual owner of the car, they may not have all the information about its history or any potential issues. That's why it's crucial to ask plenty of questions and get as much information as possible before making a decision. If you're interested in seeing the car in person, the seller has provided a location: Genoa, New York. They've also mentioned that they'll set up a meet with the owner if you're serious about making a purchase. Overall, this Custom 300 seems like a solid classic car at a reasonable price. It's got a clean title, a powerful V8 engine, and a manual transmission that's sure to make driving a blast. The low mileage and good condition are definitely positive signs, but as with any vintage car, it's important to do your due diligence before making a purchase. If you're in the market for a classic American car with plenty of character and style, this Custom 300 is definitely worth checking out. Who knows? It could be the start of a beautiful friendship between you and this red beauty. So what are you waiting for? Shoot the seller a message and set up a meet with the owner. This Ford could be the perfect addition to your classic car collection. Thanks for tuning in, and happy driving. 6. We've got a classic 1966 Ford Mustang up for grabs on Craigslist, and let me tell you, this car has some serious potential. Priced at just $7,000, this Mustang could be the perfect project car for someone looking to bring a piece of American muscle car history back to life. First off, let's talk about the specs. This Mustang is powered by a 6-cylinder engine and comes with an automatic transmission. It's got that classic rear-wheel drive layout that makes Mustangs so much fun to drive. And with just 46,764 miles on the odometer, this car has plenty of life left in it. Now let's address the elephant in the room: the condition. The seller has listed this Mustang as being in good condition, but they also mention that the vehicle is not currently running due to a grounding issue with the ignition. That means that this car is going to need some work before it's ready to hit the road again. But here's the thing. The seller also mentions that the car was running recently, which suggests that the issue may not be too serious. And if you're handy with a wrench and have some experience working on classic cars, this could be a great opportunity to get your hands dirty and bring this Mustang back to its former glory. Aesthetically, this Mustang has a lot going for it. The blue paint job is a classic color that looks great on these cars. And the seller mentions that the body is in good shape. They've also provided a link to more pictures, which is always a good sign. It shows that they're being transparent about the car's condition and are willing to provide more information to potential buyers. Of course, as with any project car, it's important to do your due diligence before making a purchase. Since this Mustang isn't currently running, it's crucial to get a thorough inspection and assess the extent of the work that needs to be done. You'll also want to factor in the cost of any necessary repairs or upgrades when considering the overall value of the car. But if you're up for a challenge and have a passion for classic Mustangs, this car could be a real diamond in the rough. With some elbow grease and a bit of know-how, you could have this Mustang back on the road and turning heads in no time. Overall, this Mustang seems like a solid project car at a reasonable price. It's got a clean title, a classic look, and the potential to be a real showstopper once it's fixed up. The fact that it's not currently running may be a deterrent for some buyers, but for others, it could be an opportunity to put their skills to the test and bring a piece of automotive history back to life. If you're interested in taking on this project, be sure to ask plenty of questions and get as much information as possible from the seller. And if you do decide to take the plunge, be prepared to put in some work, but also get ready to have a whole lot of fun along the way. So what are you waiting for? If you've got the skills and the passion, this Ford could be the perfect project car for you. Who knows? You could be cruising down the road in this classic beauty before you know it. 7. We've got a real treat for you. A 1977 AMC Hornet that's up for sale on Craigslist. This classic sedan is priced at $9,800. And let me tell you, it's a car that's sure to turn heads and make you stand out from the crowd. First off, let's talk about the specs. This Hornet is powered by a 258 cubic inch, 6-cylinder engine and comes with an automatic transmission. That means you'll get smooth, reliable performance every time you hit the road. And with power steering and power brakes, this car is easy to handle and a joy to drive. But that's not all. This Hornet also comes with air conditioning, which is a real bonus for those hot summer days. Imagine cruising down the highway in this classic beauty, with the windows down and the AC blasting. It doesn't get much better than that. Now let's talk about the condition. The seller has listed this car as being in good condition, which is always a positive sign. And with just 21,000 miles on the odometer, this Hornet has been lightly used and well maintained over the years. Aesthetically, this Hornet is a real stunner. The red paint job is a classic color that looks great on this car, and the matching red interior is a nice touch. The seller hasn't provided any photos of the interior, but based on the car's overall condition and low mileage, I'd imagine it's in great shape. Of course, as with any used car, it's always a good idea to get a thorough inspection before making a purchase. But based on the information provided in the ad, this Hornet seems like a solid car that's been well cared for over the years. One thing to note, the seller mentions that they are a used car dealer, which means that there may be some additional fees and taxes to consider when purchasing this car. Be sure to ask about any applicable fees and get a breakdown of the total cost before making a decision. Overall, this Hornet seems like a great classic car at a fair price. It's got a clean title, a reliable engine, and some nice features like air conditioning and power steering. The low mileage and good condition are definitely positive signs, and the red paint job and interior make this car a real head-turner. If you're in the market for a classic American sedan with plenty of character and style, this Hornet is definitely worth checking out. Who knows? It could be the start of a beautiful friendship between you and this red beauty. 8. We've got a classic 1978 Chevrolet El Camino up for grabs on Craigslist. This vintage ride is priced at just $3,000, which could be a steal for the right buyer. But before you get too excited, let's take a closer look at what the seller has to say about this El Camino. First off, the good news. This El Camino runs and drives, which is always a positive sign. It's got a V8 engine under the hood and an automatic transmission, so you can expect some decent power and easy driving. The seller also mentions that the interior is in good condition, which is a definite plus. However, there are some red flags to consider. The seller admits that there is somebody rust on the vehicle, which could be a major issue depending on the extent of the damage. Rust can be a real problem on classic cars, and it's important to get a thorough inspection to assess the severity of the issue. Another concern is the gearbox, which the seller describes as a little bit weak. I'm assuming they meant to say weak, which could indicate some transmission problems. A weak transmission can be a costly repair, so it's definitely something to keep in mind when considering this car. Now let's talk about the mileage. The odometer reads 156,000 miles, which is pretty high for a classic car. While high mileage isn't necessarily a deal breaker, it does suggest that this El Camino has seen some serious use over the years. It's important to consider the potential wear and tear on the engine, transmission, and other components when looking at a high-mileage vehicle. One positive note is that this El Camino has a clean title. which means there are no major legal or financial issues to worry about. That's always a good sign when buying a used car. Overall, this El Camino seems like a bit of a mixed bag. On one hand, it runs and drives, has a good interior, and a clean title. On the other hand, there are some potentially serious issues with rust and the transmission that can't be ignored. If you're considering this car, my advice would be to approach with caution. Get a thorough inspection from a trusted mechanic to assess the extent of the rust and any other potential issues. If the problems are relatively minor and you're up for a project, this El Camino could be a fun and affordable classic car. But if the issues are more severe, it may be best to keep looking. At the end of the day, it's important to be realistic about the condition of any used car, especially a classic like this El Camino. While the price may be tempting, it's crucial to consider the potential costs of repairs and restoration when making a decision. If you do decide to take the plunge on this El Camino, be prepared to put in some work to get it up to snuff. But if you're a true enthusiast and you're willing to put in the time and effort, this could be a really fun and rewarding project. 9. We've got a real piece of automotive history for you. A 1950 Dodge Meadowbrook that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This vintage beauty is priced at $7,500. And let me tell you, it's a car that's sure to turn heads and make you the talk of the town. First off, let's talk about the condition. The seller has listed this Meadowbrook as being in good condition, which is always a positive sign when it comes to classic cars. They mention that the vehicle has solid parts with light patina, which is to be expected for a car that's over 70 years old. Patina, for those who don't know, is the natural aging and weathering of a vehicle's surface, and it can actually add to the character and charm of a classic car. The seller also notes that the frame is solid, which is crucial for any vintage vehicle. A solid frame means that the car has a good foundation and is structurally sound, which is important for both safety and longevity. Now let's talk about the specs. This Meadowbrook is powered by a 6-cylinder engine and comes with an automatic transmission, which makes it a great choice for cruising around town or hitting the open road. It's also got a clean title, which means there are no major legal or financial issues to worry about. One of the most impressive things about this Meadowbrook is the low original mileage. The odometer reads just 54,714 miles, which is incredibly low for a car of this age. That means that this car has been well preserved and hasn't been subjected to the wear and tear of excessive use over the years. The seller also mentions that this Meadowbrook was previously used and registered in Texas, which is a nice bit of history to have. It's always cool to know where a classic car has been and what kind of life it's lived. Now, I know what you might be thinking. But wait, the ad lists this car as an SUV. The Meadowbrook was a sedan, not an SUV. And you'd be absolutely right. It looks like the seller may have made a mistake when listing the vehicle type, but that doesn't take away from the fact that this is a genuine Dodge. Overall, this Meadowbrook seems like a solid classic car with a lot of character and history. The good condition, low mileage, and clean title are all positive signs, and the light patina and solid frame are exactly what you'd hope to find in a vintage vehicle. Of course, as with any classic car, it's important to do your due diligence before making a purchase. Get a thorough inspection from a trusted mechanic who specializes in vintage vehicles, and make sure to ask the seller any questions you may have about the car's history and condition. But if everything checks out, this Meadowbrook could be a really special addition to your classic car collection. It's a piece of automotive history that's sure to turn heads and start conversations wherever you go. So, what are you waiting for? If you've got the budget and the passion for classic cars, this Meadowbrook is definitely worth checking out. Who knows? It could be the start of a beautiful friendship between you and this vintage beauty. 10. We've got a real treat for you, a 1965 Ford Mustang that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This classic pony car is priced at $8,000 firm, and let me tell you, it's a car that's sure to turn heads and get your heart racing. First off, let's talk about the looks. This Mustang is finished in a stunning candy apple red with black racing stripes, giving it an aggressive and sporty appearance. The paint job was first done in 2015, with various portions repainted at different times. It's got new headlights, a new right headlight bucket, and new headlight doors, all of which have been painted to match. The front valance is also new and painted, and the front and rear chrome bumpers look amazing. Now let's talk about the heart of this beast. Under the hood, you'll find a V8302 CI5. 0L engine that's been upgraded with a 650 CFM 4-barrel Holley carburetor and an Edelbrock foam filter. It's got an MSD ignition box and distributor, as well as an aluminum 3-core Champion radiator to keep things cool. The engine is mated to a T5 5-speed manual transmission that was rebuilt within 500 miles of the engine swap. And with traction bars installed on the rear springs and a true dual Flowmaster 2.5-inch exhaust, this Mustang is ready to rock. Inside, you'll find a custom instrument cluster that costs $800 and shows all the vital information you need, including a tachometer, speedometer, voltmeter, water temp gauge, oil pressure gauge, and fuel gauge. There's also a retro-style AM/FM radio with an auxiliary cord, so you can jam out to your favorite tunes while you cruise. The car has new leather door panels and a new glove box with a new latch. Now let's talk about some of the other upgrades and improvements. This Mustang has an electronic 90 GPH fuel pump, 2 Bilstein front shocks, one was replaced with a Monroe, but the new Bilstein shock is included, a CJ Pony Parts plexiglass cowl cover to keep things dry, a new starter and alternator from O'Reilly Auto Parts, and a new brake booster with a new dual diaphragm master cylinder, lines, and hoses. The dash-mounted e-brake has been replaced with a floor-mounted handbrake kit from Mustang Shop of SD. The seller has also done some work on the windows with a new passenger vent window assembly and recently serviced main passenger window and quarter window. The driver's side windows are intact but don't operate very well, and the seller is still working on them. All the glass is in good shape though. Now let's address some of the potential issues. The odometer has rolled over and is reading 12,500 miles, but the seller says it's very close to the actual engine mileage within 500 miles. The headliner was sagging, so it was removed and is ready for replacement. The headliner rods are included. There is some rust on the bottom of both doors and the A-pillars, which the seller says is to be expected after 50+ years, but the car has great bones overall. The title status is listed as salvage, which could be a red flag for some buyers. However, the seller doesn't mention anything about the car being in an accident or having major damage, so it's possible that the salvage title is due to something else. It's definitely worth asking the seller for more information about the title status and any potential issues with the car. Overall, this Mustang seems like a solid classic car with a lot of potential. It's got a great look, a strong engine, and a lot of upgrades and improvements. The salvage title and the rust issues are definitely things to keep in mind, but if you're handy with a wrench and don't mind putting in some work, this could be a really fun project car. The seller is firm on the $8,000 price, which seems reasonable given the car's condition and upgrades. They're also including a box of extra parts, including plugs, wires, emblems, tie rods, filters, and more. 11. We've got a real gem for you, a 1973 Ford F-250 that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This classic truck is priced at $7,600 or best offer, and let me tell you, it's got a lot going for it. First off, let's talk about the history of this truck. According to the seller, it's only had one owner since new and comes with the original pink slip. That's right, folks. This truck has been in the same hands for nearly 50 years, which is a testament to its quality and durability. Under the hood, you'll find a massive 390 engine with 6.4 liters of displacement. That's a whole lot of power for a truck of this size, and it's sure to make your heart race every time you step on the gas. The engine is mated to a C6 automatic transmission that's just been rebuilt, so you can expect smooth and reliable shifting. The seller also mentions that the truck has lots of new parts, which is always a good sign. It's clear that this F-250 has been well maintained and cared for over the years, and it shows in its overall condition. Now, let's talk about the exterior. This truck is finished in a sleek black paint job that looks great against the chrome accents. It's got that classic Ford look that never goes out of style, and it's sure to turn heads wherever you go. Inside, you'll find a spacious and comfortable cab that's perfect for long hauls or weekend adventures. The seller hasn't provided any photos of the interior, but based on the truck's overall condition, I'd imagine it's in pretty good shape. Now let's address some of the potential issues. The seller mentions that the truck is already running, but it still needs to be tuned and lifted a little in the front. They also note that the wheels are rubbing against the fenders, which could be a sign of some suspension or alignment issues. These are definitely things to keep in mind when considering this truck, and it's important to get a thorough inspection before making a purchase. The seller also mentions that the price may go up as they continue to make improvements and upgrades to the truck. This is something to keep in mind if you're on a tight budget, but it also shows that the seller is committed to making this F250 the best it can be. Overall, this F250 seems like a solid classic truck with a lot of potential. It's got a great history, a powerful engine, and a sleek look that's sure to turn heads. The potential issues with the tuning and suspension are definitely things to keep in mind. But if you're handy with a wrench and don't mind putting in some work, this could be a really fun project truck. The seller is asking $7,600 or best offer, which seems like a fair price given the truck's condition and history. They're also open to equivalent trades, so if you've got something of similar value that you're looking to swap, this could be a great opportunity. 12. All right, let's dive a little deeper into this 1981 Lincoln Town Car, shall we? First off, let's talk about the history of the Lincoln Town Car. This iconic model was first introduced in 1981 as a replacement for the Lincoln Continental. It was designed to be a luxury car that could compete with the likes of Cadillac and Mercedes-Benz, and it quickly became a favorite among car enthusiasts and luxury car buyers alike. One of the things that sets the 1981 Lincoln Town Car apart from other cars of its era is its sheer size. This is a big car, folks. It measures in at over 18 feet long and weighs over 4,000 pounds. But don't let that fool you. The Town Car is surprisingly nimble for its size, thanks in part to its advanced suspension system and powerful engine. Speaking of the engine, let's take a closer look at what's under the hood. The Lincoln Town Car comes equipped with a 5.0-liter V8 engine that produces a respectable 130 horsepower. While that might not sound like a lot by today's standards, it was more than enough to get this big car moving down the road with ease. But the engine isn't the only thing that makes the Town Car special. This car is loaded with features that were cutting edge for its time, including power windows, power locks, and a premium sound system. And let's not forget about the interior. The Town Car is known for its spacious, comfortable cabin that's perfect for long road trips or even just cruising around town. Of course, as with any classic car, there are a few things to keep in mind if you're considering buying a 1981 Lincoln Town Car. For one, parts can be harder to come by than they are for newer models, so you'll want to make sure you have a reliable mechanic on hand who knows their way around these cars. But overall, if you're looking for a classic luxury car that's sure to turn heads wherever you go, the Town Car is definitely worth considering. And at just $7,800, this particular example seems like an absolute bargain. So what are you waiting for? If you've got a love for classic cars and a taste for luxury, head on over to Craigslist and check out this Lincoln for yourself. Who knows, you might just drive home in the car of your dreams. 13. Get ready to feast your eyes on this stunning 1972 Mercury Monterey that's currently up for grabs on Craigslist. This beauty is a true survivor and an instant classic car show example, and it can be yours for just $7,800. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Monterey. The seller has listed it as excellent, and based on the description, I can see why. This car has been lovingly cared for and appears to have been garaged its entire life. The undercarriage is in great shape with no worries about rust or corrosion that can plague East Coast classics. And with only 24,341 miles on the odometer, this 52-year-old car is just getting started. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 400 V8 engine with a 2-barrel carb that's been recently rebuilt. The car also boasts a new distributor and starter, so you can rest assured that it runs and drives like a dream. And with good tires and brakes, you'll be cruising down the road in style and safety. But the real star of the show here is the car's size and style. The 1972 Mercury Monterey is one of the largest coupes ever produced, and it's a true testament to the simple, old-school American-made cruisers of the past. With its sleek yellow paint job and classic lines, this car is sure to turn heads wherever you go. Inside, you'll find a spacious and comfortable interior that's mostly in great condition. The rear seat and headliner are particularly impressive, and the original AM radio is still in place for that extra touch of nostalgia. The only issue noted is some amateur repair work on the driver's side front bench seat, but that's a small price to pay for a car of this caliber. Other features include roll-up windows, a heater, and power steering and brakes, making this car a breeze to drive and enjoy. And with a recent engine compression test showing all cylinders at 160, 165 psi, and no leaks, you can feel confident that this car is in top mechanical shape. Overall, if you're in the market for a classic American coupe that's sure to impress, this Monterey is the car for you. It's completely stock and original, and it's priced to sell at just $7,800. Don't miss out on this opportunity to own a piece of automotive history. Head on over to Craigslist and check it out for yourself today. 14. We've got a real gem for you. A 1968 Oldsmobile 98 that's currently up for grabs on Craigslist for just $5,900. This beauty is a true time capsule, with an incredible history that's sure to impress even the most discerning collectors. First off, let's talk about the mileage. This Oldsmobile 98 has just 72,000 original miles on the odometer, which is absolutely incredible for a car that's over 50 years old. And the best part? The seller has service records and documents that prove the mileage is accurate, so you can feel confident that you're getting a car that's been well maintained and cared for throughout its life. Speaking of maintenance, the seller mentions that they have records going all the way back to the mid-80s, which is a testament to how well this car has been looked after. It's clear that the previous owner or owners took great pride in keeping this Oldsmobile in top shape, and it shows in every aspect of the car. But perhaps the most impressive thing about this Oldsmobile 98 is its condition. The seller notes that there is no rot or rust on the car, which is a common problem with classic vehicles of this age. That means you won't have to worry about any costly repairs or restorations down the line. This car is ready to hit the road and turn heads wherever you go, and if you're worried about the tags being out, don't be. The seller is willing to work with you to get new tags, so you can drive this beauty home with confidence. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful engine that runs on gas and a smooth automatic transmission that makes driving this car a breeze. And with a clean title history, you can rest assured that this Oldsmobile has never been in any major accidents or had any other issues that could affect its value or performance. Overall, if you're in the market for a classic American luxury car that's been impeccably maintained and cared for, this Oldsmobile is definitely worth a closer look. With its low mileage, clean history, and stunning condition, it's a rare find that's sure to appreciate in value over time. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to Craigslist and check out this incredible Oldsmobile 98 for yourself at just $5,900. It's a steal of a deal that won't last long. 15. We've got a real project car that's sure to get your engines revving. A 1966 Chrysler 300 that's currently up for sale on Craigslist for just $4,500. Now, I know what you might be thinking. A car that's been sitting for over 20 years must be in pretty rough shape, right? Well, yes and no. First off, let's talk about the good. This Chrysler 300 has a rebuilt 383 engine, which is a big plus. That means it's got plenty of power under the hood, and with new tires, it should be ready to hit the road once you get it home. The seller also mentions that the car has high oil pressure, which is another good sign that the engine is in good shape. Inside, the car has new carpet and a recovered back seat, which is a nice touch. The seller even has the original front bucket seats, although they'll need new foam and to be reupholstered before they're ready to use. But now, let's talk about the not so good. The seller mentions that the odometer is broken, which means it's hard to know exactly how many miles are on this car. And while the car looks good overall, the fact that it's been sitting for over 20 years means there could be some hidden issues that won't become apparent until you start driving it regularly. Perhaps the biggest issue, though, is the title. The seller says they have the title, but the DMV is now requesting a death certificate from the previous owner who passed away in 1985. That means you'll likely need to get a bonded title, which can be a bit of a hassle. So what's the bottom line? If you're looking for a classic car that's ready to drive off the lot, this probably isn't the one for you. But if you're a skilled mechanic or a die-hard Chrysler fan who's willing to put in some work to get this beauty back on the road, it could be a great project car. The seller is asking $4,500, which seems like a fair price considering the work that's already been done and the potential this car has. Just be prepared to put in some extra time and money to get it fully roadworthy. If you're interested, the seller is asking that you text them at the number provided as they're hard of hearing. And as always, be sure to inspect the car thoroughly before making any decisions. Overall, while this Chrysler isn't perfect, it's got a lot of potential for the right buyer. With some elbow grease and a bit of patience, you could have a real head-turner on your hands. So if you're up for the challenge, why not take a closer look? Who knows? This could be the start of a beautiful friendship between you and this classic American muscle car. 16. Do I have a treat for you today? Get ready to fall in love with this stunning 1983 Buick Riviera convertible that's currently up for grabs on Craigslist. This beauty is the perfect summer car, and it can be yours for just $6,250. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Riviera. The seller has listed it as good, and based on the description, it's clear that this car has been well maintained over the years. The seller mentions that the car has recently received a new battery, new tires, new bumper fillers, and what looks like a new fuel tank. That's a lot of recent work, which shows that the owner has been taking good care of this classic. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 8-cylinder engine that's ready to roar to life. The car starts easily and runs great, according to the seller, and with rear-wheel drive, you'll be able to feel the power and control of this Riviera as you cruise down the road. One of the best things about this car is that it's a convertible, which means you can enjoy the summer sun and breeze as you drive. The seller notes that the AC works, as well as the cruise control and most of the other accessories. The only issue is with the rear windows, which need to be raised and lowered manually. But don't worry, the seller has the parts needed to fix them and will include them with the car. The odometer shows just 17,000 miles, but the seller does mention that it is rolled over. Still, based on the overall condition of the car, it's clear that it has been well cared for and hasn't been driven into the ground. As for the paint, the seller notes that the hood and trunk paint is just okay, while the rest of the paint is really good. They even have a paint match that they used on the bumper fillers in case the new owner wants to touch up those areas. Overall, this Riviera convertible is a fantastic find for anyone who loves classic cars and wants a fun summer ride. It's got a clean title, a great color combination with the red paint, and has been well maintained over the years. Plus, at just $6,250, it's a great deal for a car of this caliber. 17. Now we've got a real gem for you. A 1983 Cadillac Biarritz that's currently up for sale on Craigslist. This beauty is all original and super clean, with just 43,060 miles on the odometer. And the best part? It's been stored for the last 25 years, which means it's in incredible condition. First off, let's talk about the mileage. 43,060 miles is incredibly low for a car that's almost 40 years old. That means this Biarritz has been driven an average of just over 1,000 miles per year since it was new. And because it's been stored for the last 25 years, you can bet that those miles have been gentle and easy. The seller describes this Biarritz as super clean, which is no surprise given its low mileage and storage history. It's clear that this car has been well cared for over the years, and it shows in every aspect of its condition. Under the hood, you'll find a gas-powered engine that's paired with an automatic transmission. This combination makes for a smooth and easy driving experience, which is exactly what you want in a classic luxury car like this. And speaking of luxury, the Cadillac Biarritz was one of the most high-end models in the Cadillac lineup back in 1983. It was known for its plush interior, smooth ride, and powerful engine. And this particular example seems to have all of those features in spades. Of course, a car like this doesn't come cheap. The seller is asking $9,000 or best offer for this Biarritz, which may seem like a lot for a car that's almost 40 years old. But when you consider its incredible condition, low mileage, and storage history, it starts to look like a pretty good deal. The seller does note that they're only interested in serious buyers, which is understandable given the price and rarity of this car. So if you're just looking to kick the tires or take it for a joyride, this probably isn't the car for you. But if you're a serious collector or enthusiast who's been searching for a clean original Biarritz, this could be your chance. With its low mileage, clean title, and incredible storage history, this car is a rare find that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. 18. Get ready to feast your eyes on this stunning 1973 Oldsmobile 98 that's currently up for grabs on Craigslist. This beauty is a true gem, and it can be yours for just $7,500. First off, let's talk about the condition of this 98. The seller has listed it as good, and based on the description, it's easy to see why. With just 22,000 miles on the odometer, this car is practically a time capsule. It's rare to find a classic car with such low mileage, and it's a testament to how well this Oldsmobile has been cared for over the years. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 455 V8 motor that's ready to roar to life. This engine is known for its smooth power delivery and impressive torque, making it the perfect choice for cruising down the highway or hitting the open road. And with rear-wheel drive, you'll be able to feel the power and control of this 98 as you drive. Inside, you'll find a spacious and comfortable sedan that's loaded with features. The seller mentions that the car has power doors and windows, which is a nice touch of luxury. And with new tires, you can feel confident that this Oldsmobile is ready to hit the road with ease. But perhaps the most eye-catching feature of this 98 is its stunning red paint job. The color is deep and rich, and it's sure to turn heads wherever you go. It's the perfect shade for a classic car like this, and it really makes the Oldsmobile stand out from the crowd. Of course, no car is perfect, and the seller does mention one potential issue with this 98. The top will need to be recovered at some point, which is something to keep in mind if you're considering making an offer. But overall, this car is in great shape and is a fantastic find for any classic car enthusiast. So what are you waiting for? If you've been searching for a low-mileage, well-maintained 1973 Oldsmobile 98 with plenty of power and style, this could be your chance. With its clean title and impressive features, this car is sure to impress. And at just $7,500, it's a great deal for a classic car of this caliber. Head on over to Craigslist and check out this 98 for yourself. Who knows? It might just be the car of your dreams. And if you have any questions or want to schedule a time to see it in person, don't hesitate to reach out to the seller. They've got more ads listed, so be sure to check those out as well. Happy shopping, car enthusiasts. 19. Do I have a treat for you today? Get ready to fall in love with this absolutely stunning 1983 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 that's currently up for sale on Craigslist. This beauty is in like-new condition and can be yours for just $10,000. First off, let's talk about the history of this Camaro. According to the seller, it's been owned by the same person for an incredible 40 years and has always been kept in a garage. That means this car has been cherished and well-maintained for decades, which is evident in its amazing condition. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful V8 engine with crossfire injection that's running excellently. The seller describes it as being like new, which is a testament to how well this car has been cared for over the years. And with rear-wheel drive, you'll be able to feel the power and performance of this Camaro every time you hit the gas. The exterior of this car is just as impressive as the engine. The red paint is in fantastic condition with no signs of rust or damage. The seller even mentions that the car has tinted windows, which is a nice added touch. And with new tires and rear shocks, this Camaro is ready to hit the road and turn heads wherever you go. Inside, you'll find an original interior that's also in like-new condition. It's clear that the owner has taken great care to preserve this car's interior over the years, and it shows in every detail. From the seats to the dashboard, everything is in fantastic shape and looks just as good as it did when this car rolled off the assembly line. But perhaps the most impressive thing about this Camaro is how well it's been maintained mechanically. The seller mentions that the car has a new transmission that was installed less than 6 months ago, as well as a new coolant system. That means you can feel confident that this car is ready to drive and enjoy without any major issues. Of course, a car like this doesn't come along every day. The seller even mentions that it's hard to find a Camaro Z28 in this condition, which is why they're asking $10,000 for it. But when you consider the car's history, condition, and mechanical upgrades, it's clear that this is a fair price for such an amazing vehicle. If you're interested in seeing this Camaro in person, the seller asks that you contact them by email and leave your phone number and name. They promise to get back to you the same day and arrange a time for you to come check out the car. Overall, if you're in the market for a classic American muscle car that's in incredible condition, this Chevrolet is definitely worth considering. With its powerful V8 engine, stunning red exterior, and like-new interior, this car is sure to impress. And with its clean title and extensive maintenance history, you can feel confident that you're getting a vehicle that's been well cared for and is ready to provide years of driving enjoyment. 20. We've got a real treat for you, a 1973 Chevrolet Impala that's currently up for sale on Craigslist. This beauty is a true survivor, and it can be yours for just $8,500 or best offer. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Impala. The seller has listed it as good, and based on the description, it's easy to see why. This car is very solid and original, with just 72,000 miles on the odometer. That means it's been well cared for over the years and hasn't been driven into the ground like some classic cars. Under the hood, you'll find the original 400 small block engine that's paired with an automatic transmission. This combination is known for its smooth power delivery and reliability, making it the perfect choice for cruising down the highway or hitting the open road. And with rear-wheel drive, you'll be able to feel the classic muscle car experience that the Impala is known for. The exterior of this car is finished in a beautiful green paint that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. It's the perfect color for a classic car like this, and it really makes the Impala stand out from the crowd. The seller even mentions that the car comes with its original wheels and 3 hubcaps, which is a nice added touch. Inside, you'll find a spacious and comfortable interior that's perfect for long drives or weekend getaways. The seller mentions that the car has power steering and power brakes, which is a nice modern convenience. However, they do note that the air conditioning is not currently working, which is something to keep in mind if you plan on driving this car in the summer months. One of the things that really sets this Impala apart is its history. The seller mentions that they purchased the car from the original family, which means it's likely been well maintained and cared for over the years. That's a big plus when it comes to classic cars, as it can be difficult to find examples that haven't been modified or neglected over time. The seller also mentions that the car comes with some extra parts, which could be useful if you plan on doing any repairs or upgrades in the future. And with a clean title, you can feel confident that this car is ready to hit the road without any legal issues. Of course, the seller is looking for serious buyers only and notes that low offers will be ignored. That's understandable given the car's condition and history, and it's clear that they know what they have and aren't looking to give it away for cheap. Overall, if you're in the market for a classic American muscle car that's in great condition and has a clean history, this Impala is definitely worth considering. With its original engine, beautiful green exterior, and comfortable interior, this car is sure to impress. And at just $8,500 or best offer, it's a great deal for a classic car of this caliber.